It's 3 minutes until you have to do your online recital, or it's just an hour before you have to teach a 7-hour day. And then what happens? Everything breaks down. We all experienced this past week when all of a sudden Facebook just kind of disappeared for half a day. And, there were a lot of panicked discussions about, what's going to happen with my marketing? What am I going to do? Other people were realizing, oh my gosh, I was using my Facebook login to get into my Zoom account, or all these other things that went wrong. And so today, I want to focus on 3 ways to avoid system meltdowns in your music studio so that you can breathe a sigh of relief and know that everything's going to be okay. Welcome to the broadcast, everyone. My name is Sara Campbell. I am a business strategist, mindset, and marketing coach for online music owners and music studio owners just like yourself. And this is our very first YouTube Live. So welcome to the broadcast, everyone. If you are new here, please tell us where you were from and let us know if you were impacted by the meltdown that happened earlier this week. Let's get started with some great tips, but first, a little music. So the topic of the day, ways to avoid system meltdowns. We know that in today's world, you're using a lot of technology, whether you are teaching online lessons or you are just using platforms for live video or for marketing purposes. We have our fingers in a lot of different systems that have to do with tech. And when things break down, as they will do, we need to make sure that we've got backup plans. So that's what we're looking at today. We're looking at 3 specific ways that you can avoid system meltdowns in your music studio so that you don't get thrown into a panic when something breaks down. So welcome, everybody. I see we've got a lot of great people here today. I'll say good morning to Pete and Judy. I see, hello, Lisa is here. That's awesome. And we've got Elizabeth. Lots of crazy things that happen, right? And Leisha, nice to see you. It's going to be a good day, my friends. So if you have teacher friends who you think could benefit from this conversation, I encourage you to let them know about this. We do these broadcasts every single week, and it's free stuff, man. So come on in, have a good conversation with us, and let's learn out loud. So if you are here and you're enjoying this information, this is the first time I get to say this, be sure to subscribe to the Savvy Music Studio YouTube channel because we will be putting more content out here. And if you've never taken a look around the channel before, we have all of our broadcasts that were done on Facebook over here on YouTube, and they're all organized by playlists. And inside of each one of the descriptions of those broadcasts, they are conveniently marked by timestamps so you can find exactly what you are looking for. Hey there, Wendy. Hey, Karen. Nice to see you. Christine. Okay, good morning, everyone. All right, so let's get started here. We love to learn out loud. So if you hear something that is valuable to you, or you have an aha moment like, oh, well, this is interesting. I'm going to put this into practice. Give us a hashtag takeaway and join in on the conversation and let us know what it is that you heard that you enjoyed. So let's get started today. All right, the topic, 3 ways to avoid system meltdowns. Now, when the big blackout occurred on Monday, it's currently October 6th, 2021, so just for time stamping reasons. When the big blackout happened on Monday, a lot of people were panicked, myself included, because I had blocked out a 2-hour time period where I was going to be going inside one of the courses that I teach on Facebook, and I was using that time to respond to questions, to give comments on assignments, and when I went to the book a face, it was gone. So So it really got me thinking about how we can prepare ourselves for issues like this in the future. And so what we're going to do is we're going to break this down into 3 pretty doable steps, so that you don't get caught unawares and so that I don't get caught unawares the next time one of these blackouts happens, because guess what? It's going to happen. Whether or not we want it to. So let's break it down today. Here we go. So one of our first steps here is something that Leishan had just mentioned in the chat. The first tip that I have for you is to use email logins whenever possible. So let me define what this means. There are so many pieces of software, apps, programs, whatever out there that allow you to log in or to create an account with that program, app, whatever, by using different logins that you already have. So for instance, you can connect to an app through Facebook. You can connect to it through your Google email account. But what you really want to make sure that you're doing is you are using specific email logins. And I know it's kind of a pain in the butt because, it is hard to remember all of those passwords. I'm the old school type of person when it comes to remembering passwords, and I actually have a notebook where I write them out down. But I know that there are fabulous programs out there that will actually save your passwords for you. So the first tip is to use email logins, because if you are using social logins or other logins for another program, what can happen is if that program shuts down, like Facebook shut down, you will then be locked out of Zoom or whatever you had used that social platform login for. So it's important to consider this. We want to keep, our logins separate so that when a social app or whatever breaks down, you're not suddenly caught unawares and you're not able to log in to something that you need to use for your studio. So the biggest example of this is what Leishan had said here, and I'm going to bring that up onto the screen. She said, I learned my Zoom is connected to Facebook. I fixed that right away. I'm so glad, Leishan, that you were able to fix that. It had a lot of people in panic because that was really kind of like a big moment for everybody, because nobody, especially if you're teaching online nowadays, I'm at about 1/3 online and then 2/3 in person for my piano and voice studio. If you are teaching online and you're suddenly not able to log in to the app that you use to teach, panic ensues, right? So use email logins whenever possible. I know it feels like an extra step, but the next time you make an account for something and it says, would you like to log in with Facebook? And you're going to say, no, thanks. So yes, I see some takeaways from some of our teachers here. Let's bring those up onto the screen. Wendy says her takeaway, that makes so much sense, using those email logins. And Elizabeth says, yes, notebooks with passwords. And Pete agrees, email logins are the best. They are that extra step, but that extra step is going to give you a little bit of extra protection if something breaks down. So that's our first step, using email logins. The second step is to create backup plans and client communications. So let me explain what I mean by these two things. So let's say, for instance, you are using something like YouTube or Facebook Live to stream a recital. And right before you hit this, go live button, it breaks down. So it's important to have some type of a backup plan that you can use. Another example would be if you're teaching online lessons and, you typically use let's say something like Rock Out Loud Live, or Musi, I think is another one. If anybody else has other music lesson teaching platforms that you'd like to shout out, go ahead and include those in the comments. If you're using something like that and it's not going to work, you need a backup plan in place. So having a different system that you can use, making sure that you know that where the login stuff is. I like to keep things organized in bookmark folders. I have so many bookmark folders on Chrome. It's absolutely crazy. But it helps me find stuff when I'm, in a jam. So, create that backup plan, have a backup system that you can use. And then you need to make sure that you have planned communications around that. So that could be as simple as having an email draft or an email template that you can quickly bring up and send out to your clients to let them know, hey, this stuff is broken, but guess what? No worries. We have a second backup plan, and then detail how they can use that. So, we often think about having a backup, but then we are scrambling to write that communication. And inside of that communication, we need to make sure that we have detailed how people use things, because, it might be grandma that's setting up, the lesson for her grandson who's 7, and he can't handle. Well, he might be able to, because he's 7 and he probably knows more than us. But you need to make sure that you have specific instructions for your clients so that it makes it simple for them. And this is not just limited to things like online lessons or doing live videos. You want to have backup plans for a lot of things. So let's just hash out a worst case, scenario for a moment. What if Facebook were to completely shut down? I don't think that's going to happen, but let's just say a what if. If all of your marketing eggs are in the Facebook basket, what is going to happen when you don't have that basket anymore? Right? So we need to think, a little sip here. We need to think, how can I diversify what I'm doing in order to make sure that I still am able to market, that I'm able to do what I need to do for my business? There's just all kinds of things that we want to consider with that. Yes, so I see lots of takeaways coming into the chat, so let's bring up a couple of those. Yes, okay. There we go. Lisa says, organize bookmark folders in Chrome. My bookmarks are a mess. I have to reorganize some of mine too. Leishan's takeaway is that she loves templates. So she's going to focus on some templates for communication. Guys, can you see that I'm nervous today? I'm all blotchy. Oh my goodness. Okay, so professional. First time on live on YouTube, and it's kind of fun. I'm digging it. Karen says the new iOS made it impossible to use the backup function. She needs a backup plan now. Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay, here we go. Pete says backups, alternatives, or alternates. Yes, be ready to communicate and connect with clients. So, making sure that you have all those things in place, whether it's an email template, whether it's a template that you can use on text, something that you can just copy paste really easily. So there's all kinds of different ways that we can get those communications out to people. It could even be, shock of shocks, a phone call. Yeah, so I see that Elizabeth said her takeaway is to send Rock Out Loud Live info to last night's mostly non-music class right now. Very cool. That's great. I love that. Oh, interesting. Wendy, a session on how to use YouTube as a backup. Well, that could be a topic for future broadcasts. Indeed, I'll have to give that some consideration there. Laura says her takeaway is a backup plan and communication. I love it. Great. Okay, so we've gone through 2. Let's look at the third item that's going to allow you to avoid system meltdowns. You ready? Here we go. I've already hinted this a little bit. It is time to diversify your marketing tactics if you have not already done so. This is something that I focus on a lot with one-on-one clients because, sometimes teachers will come to me and they'll say, okay, my Facebook is just not getting any traction, or my Instagram is not getting any traction. I'm putting all these posts out there, but I'm not getting any inquiries. Well, here's the deal. If that's your almost primary focus for marketing, then you're missing out on the big picture. So marketing plans, yeah, social media can be great for marketing plans, absolutely great for marketing plans. However, we need to make sure that we're not putting all the eggs in one basket. So social media is great to build brand awareness. It's great to build social proof because some of those platforms allow us to get client reviews, but we also need to think bigger picture, What about referral marketing? How can you tap into referral marketing instead of just waiting for people to refer you to others? How can you boost those referrals? Thinking about how can you tap into your local network community? How can you network with other local businesses so that you can market within their sphere, and also, have some reciprocal type of relationship with them? There's so many different places that you can market your studio. And so I encourage you, like this week, as I was thinking, as Facebook shut down, I was thinking, all right, so where else does Savvy Music Studio market? And I realized, okay, it is time for me to bump up some of the things that I'm doing. So to think, all right, I've got LinkedIn. That's good. I've got Instagram. I got Facebook. Cool. I need to ramp up my use of Google My Business. I also need to revisit my blog. So to think like, how can I tap into website marketing? How can I tap into socials? How can I tap into email marketing? There are so many different ways that you can do this. So many different ways. So the takeaway here, at least for me, is to watch yourself when you start feeling like you are focused too much on one platform. Because there are so many platforms out there that we can use. And if we're really strategic about it, we can actually repurpose content onto different platforms. So for instance, today I chose to go live on YouTube, and YouTube is a fantastic search engine. So we're going to use this video, repurpose it over onto Facebook, make some snippets of this video, and also repurpose it onto LinkedIn and Instagram. It's also going to be sent out to the email list. Actually, it was already sent out to the email list. Some of you may have gotten that. So diversifying the marketing tactics is a really important stage in protecting your systems from meltdown. And I've got a surprise for you all. You guys ready? I'm so excited about this. So in thinking about how we can diversify our marketing tactics, I have been making a brand new thing for you guys. It's not finished yet, and it's going to be huge. I am making a social media and search engine field guide that is specifically geared towards music teachers. So inside of this, I'm going to be talking about current trends. I'm going to give overviews of all different types of social media and search engines. And we also have some like hybrid sites that are like half social media, half search engine. I'm going to give you details on all of those, about like what type of demographics you can find there, how you can use them for your music studio. And I'm going to give you a great big list of best practices for those platforms. So if that's something that you might be interested in getting a hold of, just say field guide below, and I'm going to give you a really cool link that you can get a hold of this. I think nope, that's not the right link. Let me grab it. I already have this set up as a pretty link. So this is something that is going to be sent out to my email list, and I will have some other opt-ins for this later. So if you're not already on the email list, if you go to savvymusicstudio.com/get email, you'll be added to that list, and you will be updated as soon as the field guide is ready to go. This field guide is going to be huge. In the past, some of the freebies that I've made for my audiences are like 1, maybe 5, maybe 7 pages. This field guide is gonna be much bigger than that. There's a lot going into it. I'm still in the writing phase, and then my VA and I are going to head into editing and design. It's going to be super duper cool. I think you're really going to like it. So that is one thing that I have for you. I see lots of field guides in the comments. Excellent. Make sure to tap that link up above if you're not already on the email list. If you want to set yourself up for reminders of the broadcasts, I have not decided if we're going to stick here on YouTube or if we're going to be like flip-flopping back and forth. So like stay tuned in weeks to come. I think we may do YouTube for a couple of weeks. If you are interested in making sure that you get a notification for this and a link, then I have a thing that you can set up. The Savvy Sara bot will Hey there, Pam. Nice to see you. Hi, Deborah. The Savvy Sarah bot can send you a link via text message about 7 minutes before I go live. So if you go to savvymusicstudio.com/text me, that's where you can get set up for reminders every time we do a live broadcast here. All right. So let's do a little recap of what we've talked about today and keep those takeaways coming. All right. So you're 3 minutes from doing your recital or an hour from teaching a 7-hour lesson day, and all of a sudden your platform breaks and you are sent into a panic because now what the heck do you do? Blackouts are something that will happen. And so in order to avoid the overwhelm that happens when all of a sudden all the shiz breaks, here are 3 ways that you can avoid system meltdowns in your music studio. Here we go. All right, number 1. Use email logins whenever possible. I know it's tempting that when a program or an app gives you the option to log in via a social network or something that you already have, it's like, ooh, that's easy and I don't have to come up with a password or type my email in there. Do yourself a favor, take that extra step and actually use an email login, because if that social network that you are using blacks out, then you will be unable to log into the program that you want to use. So use email logins whenever possible. Number 2, create backup plans and also create client communications surrounding those plans. So have a list of things that you can use if, Zoom isn't going to work. Can you do FaceTime? Can you use Rock Out Loud Live? Can you use Musi? Get a list of things that you can use when something breaks. And then make sure that you have a template ready to go that you can easily send out to your clients via email or text that details the change and tells them exactly what they need to do in order to proceed. So bullet points, number lists, anything like that, make it super easy for your clients to join you. Number 3, please diversify your marketing tactics. If you're putting all your eggs in one basket and that basket gets taken away, you're going to feel a little panicky. So think about social media, think about websites, think about email, think about local networking, think about tapping into your referral market. There are so many different ways that you can market your studio. So it is my wish for you that when one of your systems breaks down, you're like, I got this because I have other systems in place. Let's proceed. All right. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find us at Savvy Music Studio on YouTube, and I will be doing more live videos here later. Be sure to check out our playlists because we've got lots of business, marketing, and social media tips for you. That's Savvy Music Teacher. And I look forward to chatting with you again in the future. And if you want to get a hold of that social media and strategy field guide, boom, hey, put a field guide down below. I'll reach out to you and let you know how you can get a hold of that. The easy way you can do it is go to savvymusicstudio.com/get email, and you'll be set up and ready to go. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this content, please be sure to give us some thumbs up and let us know in the comments here. I will be back around for those who are watching on the replay. If you have any questions that I've gone over, hey, hit me up. I'm ready to answer them. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I appreciate you all. Thank you, Pete. Sarah rocks. I appreciate that. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed our first YouTube Live, and we will be back next week. In the meantime, stay savvy and stay you, because there's no music teacher in the world who is quite like you. And I think you are pretty dang awesome. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.